Okay, this is the 2.4 extra problems from class, ones that we skipped over. Starting with example 3, part C. It's supposed to be trying to clear out the I in the denominator, so using the idea of the conjugate. So we're going to multiply top and bottom by 5 minus 2i, because that will be the conjugate of this denominator right here. When we FOIL this out, this gives me negative 15. Negative 3 times negative 2i would be positive 6i. Negative 2i times 5 would be negative 10i. And negative 2 times negative 2 would be positive 4. I times I is I squared. So remember, that means that term overall, that's going to be a negative 1, so this is actually a negative 4. And then on the bottom we get 25 plus 10i and minus 10i and minus 4i squared. So that would end up being a plus 4 overall because of the I squared. So then when we combine like terms on top, we get negative 19 minus 4i over 25 plus 4, which is 29. In standard form, that would be negative 19 over 29 minus 4 over 29i. Okay? And then part D, you only have a single term in the denominator, so you don't actually need the conjugate. If you just multiply top and bottom by I, that'll turn that into an I squared. So this will be negative 2i plus 6i squared over 3i squared. Some things are going to change. This will turn into a negative 6 because of the I squared. This will turn into a negative 3. So we have, if we write it in order, negative 6 minus 2i over negative 3, reduce it down, this would be positive 2 plus 2/3 I. For E part, we need to pull out the i's of the radicals first. So this is actually negative 3, that would be an I, and then that would be square root of 25, so that's plus 5i. And 8 minus, that would be an I for the negative and 6 for the 36. We would FOIL this out, so this is negative 24 plus 18i plus 40i and minus 30i squared. The I squared will change to a negative 1, so this actually becomes plus 30. And so now we have 30 minus 24 is 6. 18 plus 40 would be 58i. So 6 plus 58i. We did F in class. Looking at our example 4, I did D and E in class, so we need to do A, B, and C. So this is already set up for quadratic formula, and it doesn't factor anyways, so this would be A equals 1, B equals negative 2, C equals 26, X equals negative B, so that's negative negative 2, plus or minus square root B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. The radical works out to be a positive 4, and 26 times 4 is negative 104 because of the negative sign there. So this is 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 100 over 2. That would be a 10i because square root of 100 is 10, but the negative right here is the I. So we have 2 plus or minus 10i over 2. That reduces to 1 plus or minus 5i. Okay, for the next one, A equals 1, B equals 8, C equals 17. So X equals negative B plus or minus square root B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Work out our radical again. Let's see, what is 4 times 17? That's 68. So this is 64 minus 68, because it's a negative right here times 2 positives. So that makes this negative 8 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 all over 2. That'd be negative 8 plus or minus 2I over 2. So when we reduce that, we get negative 4 plus or minus I. And finally for C, A equals 1, B equals 3, C equals 6, X equals negative B plus or minus square root B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. So this radical here is a 9 minus a 24. So this time it's not going to work out perfectly. It's not going to be just a nice perfect square root. We get the square root of negative 15. So sometimes you'll have an I and you'll just have numbers, and sometimes you'll still have that square root involved, just depends. So this is negative 3 plus or minus square root of 15, and it's over 2 both times with the I right here because of the negative that was in that square root of 15. And square root of 15 does not reduce any further. Okay, so that's the end of the 2.4.